I would now like to welcome Senator Roger Wicker from Mississippi, our Banking Committee colleague, to the committee. Senator Wicker has switched seats temporarily to testify before the committee. Senator Wicker, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Ranking Member and Senator Tester. I have a written statement which I will not read in its entirety and ask that it be included in the record at this point.
Thank you.
I would also notice that the states of Montana and South Dakota have sent a great deal of water down our way this year, which we're experiencing right now. It only enforces the fact that we're all in this together and that we do need a multi-year reauthorization. And so I'm here today to agree with members of the committee in that respect and to speak for a few moments about my proposal, which I'm calling the Coastal Act. You were kind enough to allow me to testify last year before I became a member of this committee to sort of talk about the unique perspective we have and people in the state of Alabama, Louisiana, and the Gulf Coast have with regard to flood insurance and the way it interplays with wind insurance. At that time, I spoke about 3 reforms that I advocated. Number 1, improving enforcement by FEMA and lenders with respect to those required to purchase and maintain flood insurance. I don't think we do a good job there. Number 2, charging rates that are actuarially sound, as the ranking member just noted. And number 3, updating FEMA's flood insurance maps so that those in flood-prone areas are aware of the risk and obtain proper insurance coverage. Mr. Chairman, it's been 6 years since Hurricane Katrina devastated the Gulf Coast. While we've made significant progress in rebuilding our communities and businesses for many Mississippians, recovery is still not complete. And one of the biggest impediments to our efforts is the lack of affordable property insurance. The availability and affordability of wind insurance is crucial in any state where there's coastal exposure. For vast numbers of property owners, private insurance coverage for wind damage has not been available in the Gulf Coast since the aftermath of the 2005 hurricane season. Hurricanes, as we all know, present a unique problem for coastal property owners because damages can be caused by multiple perils, including high winds and devastating storm surges. Currently, homeowners cannot purchase a single policy that covers all hurricane-related damages. Wind losses are covered by private insurers or state-run wind pools, while covering for flood damage is largely backed by the federal government through NFIP. As I've testified before, many property owners who suffered severe property damage from Hurricane Katrina were forced to go to court to determine which insurer was responsible for damage in wind versus water disputes. Now, I want to also quote from the Government Accountability Office, which issued a report in 2007 which called for greater oversight of wind and flood damage determinations. In that report, GAO found that claims information collected by NFIP did not allow FEMA to effectively oversee damage determinations and apportionments after hurricane events. These are the words not of Senator Roger Wicker, but of the Government Accountability Office, and I quote, "For a given property, FEMA's ability to assess the accuracy of payments for damage caused only by flooding is limited because NFIP does not know what portion of the total damages was caused by wind and what portion was caused by flooding." The report goes on to say, because both homeowners and NFIP policies can be serviced with a single write-your-own private insurer, a conflict of interest exists during the adjustment process. The words, Mr. Chairman, of GAO. Now, to help resolve these issues, I have recently introduced the Consumer Option for an Alternative System to Allocate Losses Act, the Coastal Act. This legislation, S 1091, which I invite each of you to co-sponsor, addresses several problems that arose in the aftermath of Katrina. These problems include, number one, disputes and costly litigation between consumers and insurers over the wind versus water claims. Number two, inherent conflicts of interest, as GAO pointed out. And number three, the lack of oversight with respect to the adjustment process and claims paid by NFIP. I believe the Coastal Act is a common sense approach to addressing these problems. The legislation would use data currently collected by NOAA and other participating entities to allocate property damages following significant storms. Under the Coastal Act, a formula would be established that utilizes storm information provided by NOAA and its partners, combined with structural information for each property to allocate losses caused by high winds and storm surges from hurricanes. This alternative loss allocation system would be based on the timing, location, and magnitude of wind speeds and the storm surge before, during, and after major storm impacts the coastline of the United States. Only properties completely destroyed by a hurricane would qualify under this loss allocation system. Slab cases, as they are commonly known, have the greatest uncertainty because there's little or no evidence left behind. The Coastal Act is by no means a silver bullet for all the problems associated with flood insurance and NFIP. However, it is a fair and objective way to provide more certainty to the slab claims process, which is a very costly piece of the greater flood insurance program. The advantage of my proposal is that it is based on activities that NOAA already carries out. Extensive storm data related to wind and storm surges are currently collected throughout each named storm that threatens the coastline. This is done primarily now for the purpose of doing a better job of informing emergency managers. I would emphasize that the Coastal Act does not create a new program. It rather uses information that we currently have for the purpose of better allocating the responsibility for wind versus water. I believe this proposal will provide more structure in the marketplace, which should increase the availability of insurance and competition, thus driving down premiums over time. I also believe this system will help us hold insurance companies accountable for covered losses rather than forcing taxpayers to foot more of the bill through the deeply indebted National Flood Insurance Program. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, I would say Congress has an opportunity to make wind and water coverage available and affordable while putting the National Flood Insurance Program on a sustainable path forward. I will continue working with each of you, my colleagues on the committee, to pass a multi-year reauthorization bill that can be signed into law, and I urge all of my colleagues to join us in this effort. Thank you.